Welcome to Season 4 of She Lancer, Mom Entrepreneur with voiceover Angela. I'm your host, Angela. I'm a full-time voiceover artist and audiobook narrator, and this podcast are the audio versions of my live Q&A chats on YouTube. If you'd like to be part of the live Q&A chats, come on over to my YouTube channel, Voiceover Angela. I'm live every Tuesday at 12 p.m. EST. We talk about voiceover, the business of voiceover, audiobooks, and so much more. Find more information on my website, voiceoverangela.com. Enjoy today's episode. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, even. Thank you for joining me for another live community chat here on my channel. My name is Angela. I am a full-time voiceover artist and audiobook narrator. And my channel is dedicated to those of you just getting started out in this wonderful world of voiceover and audiobook narration. And through the channel, I share with you pretty much everything that I do every day and everything that I have learned thus far in my own journey. I've been doing this for about 6.5 years now, full time for about 4.5. Anywho, we welcome you with open arms. We get together in these weekly chats and talk about a topic or 10, whatever comes up. We'll see how it goes. But if you're not new here, then every week we have a poll, which is usually the topic of the day, but we'll see how it goes. Today's topic is how do you manage video or audiobook narration when you're employed full time? It was hard for me. I can tell you it was hard for me. I did it for about a year and a half, 2 years. Somewhere between a year and a half to 2 is when I went full time. Um, yeah, maybe just yeah, right around that time. Anywho, so how do you do it? I mean, a lot of us are parents. A lot of us have, maybe a very demanding job. Maybe you have odd work hours. You have a lot of responsibilities at home. You have a lot of, just stuff, life that demands your time and your attention. So how do you carve out some time every day to develop or grow, or both, your voiceover career or audiobook narration career? It's tough. Let's go over to the poll and see what you guys are saying, and then I'll tell you what I did. But it looks like we got 25 votes so far. Oops, I just clicked away from the poll. There we go. And it looks like about 32% of you said you use a like scheduling or planner, like a daily agenda or um, something of that nature, some kind of planner. 24% of you said, I'm just going slow. I'm just going to take a few jobs a month and kind of see how it goes, right? 30% of you said, I'll make it happen. Bring it on. I don't care what it is, how big it is, what I'm doing. I'm going to do it. I'll figure it out. And then 19% of you said, I can't seem to find the time. Now, I can tell you in the beginning for me, it took a lot of sacrifice for me. It took a lot of time away from my family. It took a lot of time away from sleep. It took, um, and I thank goodness I have a very supportive partner who was able to kind of stand in for me and do some things for me. But it did take some time away from family during weekends. Usually, kiddo went to bed, then I would come down here to the studio and do what I could do. Um, But at the time, being employed full time, I was thankful that I had while I was learning and growing and taking the time that I needed to grow this business, that I had financial support, I had insurance, I had, health insurance, I had, the taxes were being handled, all of those things, and in a way, my employer sponsored my new career, right? That's the way that I looked at it. But it was difficult for me to stay on top of goals, what I needed to do. As we all know, there's so much building this. It's truly an elephant. You need it. You have to break those larger chunks of things that need to be done into smaller bites, usually by priority, right? And as we talk about a lot here on my channel, there's a lot of things that should take priority, that should be done first, and those are learning, training, right? Because as soon as you get started, as soon as you start auditioning, as soon as you start creating demos, you wanna make that first impression good as you possibly can. So, in getting there, you need to really take the time to understand how all of your equipment works, mic placement, how to treat your space, which DAW, digital audio workstation, are you going to use? How does it work? What do all the effects do? How to do some just basic functions on it. How to understand the lingo, because there's a lot of new lingo that you're going to be hearing. And then also joining groups. I say this a lot. Join groups, join masterminds, join workshops, join courses. Learn all that you can. Follow all the voice actors and audiobook narrators that you can find on social media and absorb what they have to say. Reach out to them, ask them questions. If they do some mentorship or some coaching, reach out to them, pick their brains. Everybody's situation is different, right? Everybody's space is going to be different. Everybody's equipment choices and configurations, room configurations, everyone's voice, time, investment, capabilities. Everybody's got a different sort of situation. So, in, to be able to reach out to someone that you follow and ask questions, like on a one-on-one basis, is going to be valuable to help you move forward or to sort of maybe dial in your room space or start profiles, whatever, is going to be specific to your situation, right? I feel like I'm going on a tangent already, but ultimately, those things, um, in conjunction with building your website, with discovering what all the different freelance places can do for your business, which one to sign up for, how to create profiles, training, coaching, training. There's a lot to get done in the beginning. Um, so one of the most valuable things that I did for myself was to get myself a planner, like a daily agenda planner. And I'm old school. I like to have something tangible in my hand, pen and paper. I don't wanna have to do it into the computer, so I have on my desk in here a daily planner that's got there's 3 days on every page, so there's ample room to write in, "At this time, I have to do this. At this time, I have to do this," or to make notes, right? If I'm listening to somebody else, or I could just jot down notes on it too. So it's helped me keep on top of things, right? You can write down goals on it. Today, I have to find a new web host. I have to, you know and in doing that, it sort of kept me accountable, on track, and on top of auditions, if I did win a book job, that I could keep track of how many chapters I had to either record or edit that day to stay on track. This planner, with as simple as it is, has really made has really made this grow, has really helped me to be successful and to stay on top of things. Now, you might be saying, "Okay, well, I have all of these responsibilities. I have all of these, demands on my time." Well, start to take note of what days require you to do what, right? Maybe little Timmy has basketball practice on Mondays. Okay, well, now you know that from, this time to this time, I have maybe about an hour to commit to building that website or to building that profile or to practice with a coach, and then I could commit that. You might be a whole lot busier for a while. You might be a little bit more restricted in free time or maybe even sleep. But I'm telling you, all of those little seeds, every little action that you do is a seed of progress. And all of those little seeds, if you continue to cultivate them and plant them, they will pay off for you at some point. So no matter how big this seems or overwhelming this seems to you, you will get through it. You have to stay consistent. You have to keep at it, right? Keep track of when you can be available and write those in your daily agenda. On Monday, I have this time to this time available. And then write in what you'd like to do for yourself that day, what you can do to build your career, what you can do to continue growing in this new. I think that one little simple thing has been instrumental in helping me to build this career. And if you're interested in this, daily planner, I've actually put the link to it to get it in Amazon, the exact same one that I use down in the description below. If you're take a look at it. Um, it's been huge for me. I highly recommend it. I see we have a whole lot of comments, and we've got a half day at school today, so let's get to the comments and see what you guys are saying. Sorry, I went off on a tangent. I tend to do that from time to time. Oh, boy. Okay, let's get over to the comments. Holy Moses. Holy Moses, we have a lot of comments. I see some super chats. Hold on. Oh my gosh, thank you guys. Um, wow, first super chat, Dylan. Thank you, Dylan. Dylan says, "Check your audio settings, lots of echo." Also, hi. Uh-oh. Are you still hearing echo? My sound is intermittent. Uh-oh. Sound is intermittent. Uh-oh. Software. I don't have any noise cancellation software going. Is it still sound funny? Hold on. Uh, hang on. Does this sound better? I don't have anything on. Testing, testing. One in every 5 words does not get through. Interesting. Well, that's not good. Oh, that's better? Quieter. Okay, hold on. Let me turn up my mic volume a little bit. How is this? Can we do automatically adjust mic volume? Incredibly quiet. How about now? Is this better? More volume? Is this better? Still quiet but clear. Okay. Well, here, I'm going to crank it up a little bit more and try not to blow your ears out. Same volume. Still low. Getting there? Okay, it's all the way up. I don't know what is happening. So I apologize for that. Maybe it's just a weird StreamYard connection today. Oh my gosh. Well, I'm hoping that you guys heard some of that, most of that. Dwight says your sound is warbling, cutting in and out. Oh gosh, I'm so sorry, guys. I don't know what is going on. I haven't changed anything. Must be just a weird connection. Not choppy now. Okay, well, that's good. Thank you guys for the super chat and trying to get my attention while I was tangenting. Gregory says, thank you for all your tips, tricks, and techniques. I'm using all of them while narrating my first audiobook. Did you hear me say all? Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you so much. Now quiet. Interesting. Interesting. Okay, well, I'll have to check all my connections, unless it's just a internet connection thing. I'm not sure. But thank you guys. Thank you guys for that. You could understand my, okay, well, it must have just been like an internet thing. Sorry, guys. But thank you for letting me know, trying to get my attention while I'm blah, 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 blah. I promise I changed nothing. So it happens from time to time. Okay. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, let's go to the comments. Dwight says, "Good morning, Angela. Hello, my fellow Angelinos. Today is a great day for VO. Go out and get it." Absolutely. I do have to turn on my air conditioner, though, because it feels like it's a sauna in here. Hold on. So I apologize if you hear noise, but you can see me sweating. Dwight says, "No stinking thinking around here, folks. Just support, support." Absolutely. It's the damn interwebs. Yes, Andrew, it is. So I hope you guys heard something that I said. Basically, planners, good. Get one. Oh, my goodness. That's right. No stinking thinking, Dwight. All right, Caesar says, "How timely. I've got Dwight to thank for helping me organize day job, VO work, and personal time." Yes, Dwight, if you're in my VO workshop, Dwight Dagenhart, he is great with organizational tools and skills. To be frank, my day job is quite tedious, involving web development back-end work. That sounds incredibly tedious. It does. Caesar says, "Most of my time then is subdivided between caring for my 94-year-old mom, and my VO work is split between narration and sound engineering. The challenge is time zones." I would imagine it would be. I would imagine that would be. Yet time zones is definitely something to contend with in this industry, because you're available basically worldwide, globally. So contending with time zones is definitely a factor. And I imagine for you, Caesar, definitely. Errands during the day can drastically hinder my ability to work and remain alert and coherent in the evening. It's never easy, but despite challenges, I've made considerable progress with VO work. Yes, you have. Yes, you have. And you are proof that challenges can't or won't stop you unless you allow them to. You are proof that challenges can be overcome. That's wonderful, Caesar. That said, hello, Angela. Hello, everyone. I'm staying indoors today. My volcanic lake has been acting up. And I'm complaining about 94 degrees here in the desert, and you have a volcanic lake acting up. And the air is thick with sulfur dioxide. Perfect excuse to work in a soundproof studio, I would say so. Oh my gosh. Joel says, "Good morning from sunny West Michigan." Good morning to you, sir. Thank you for joining. Helen says, "Om," or Om. Hello, everyone. "I am a teacher by day and now purely a YouTube narrator by night. Lots of small ongoing gigs that mean a small but constant trickle of work. Audiobooks were the dream. Oops. But not anymore. I'm getting closer to being able to reduce a couple of days of day job a week. Not anymore. Just finding." Whoops. Malfunction there. Yeah, it seems like it's the day for those, right? Anyway, I am slowly edging up hourly and job rate, so getting closer to the transition every week. That is awesome. Good for you. Good for you. Joel says, "I'm currently a full-time truck driver and a painter." Wow. "So I'm finding my way to record VO is usually at night, but it's only been 1 week so far and I'm living it." You know, I actually worked with a full-time truck driver a couple years ago, and he was in the process. I was helping him to build a booth in his cab, in his truck cab. It's really interesting, the lengths that some people will go to. And there's also a couple of VOs that I know that have, like, they live in like the minibuses, like they're like the nomads, right? They can go anywhere with their little RV or their minibus, and they built a booth inside. And that's just what they do. They travel around, the country with their booth inside of their van. That's so awesome. Challenge, yes, but awesome, I think, all at the same time. Oh, we have a super chat. Hold on. I'm coming. My gosh, thank you guys so much for the super chats, and I'm so sorry for the audio issues. I don't know what happened. Thank you for all for letting me know. Sean says, I love my friends and family, but it is hard to convince them that I really do work for a living. Have you found that you must turn your phone off certain hours a day? Any tips for those? I don't see where that's continued, but uh, it took a while for my friends and family to understand that even though I'm at home, I'm working. So what I did for myself is I set like business hours for myself, right? So like between 9 and 5 is those are my working hours. Anything before or after is dedicated to, my family and quiet rest time, right? No weekends. Well, I do sometime work weekends, but not. I don't meet with clients. I don't meet with mentees. I leave that for kind of makeup time, right? Just like any normal working person does. Slow down, brain. So I should at least mute my phone, but there is an important thing that you brought up there, Sean. If your phone is in your booth with you, not only should you have it on silent or do not disturb or anything like that. I don't put mine on do not disturb. I just silence it, but there's the possibility for feedback to leak into your microphone depending on, your situation. So if you need to focus on something and it needs to be quiet and you need to be distraction free, you might want to consider keeping your phone outside the booth during certain hours. My phone luckily doesn't seem to have any kind of, interference with anything in here, so I just keep it on quiet. I just keep notifications off, right? It's muted. So I can still see important information, like if the school calls and I need to come get my son because he hurt himself on the field, something, because it has happened. But setting myself work hours and then letting everybody know what my work hours are, that I'm available if they need me, but I'm dedicating that time to working, if that makes sense. I feel like I went off on a whole other tangent. Thank you, Sean. Thank you so much for the super chat. You guys are awesome. Again, I feel so bad about the audio quality. And I see some people joining for the first time, so I hope that didn't leave a bad impression. I don't know what happened, but usually it's pretty good. I don't know what happened. All right, where did I leave off? Rusty Gillbilly! Hope everyone is having a wonderful morning. Thank you, Angela, for sharing your wisdom. Thank you. I hope you guys heard some of it. Dylan says, good morning, all. All those in the Platinum group know my schedule and lack of time. I work 7 to 4 and record after my family goes to bed until around 1 a.m. It's not ideal or sustainable, but it's what I do. And that's one thing to keep in mind, is that it is temporary. This time sacrifice, this extra struggle, hustle, even if you want to call it that, is temporary. It will get you to the point where you can eventually leave your full-time employer and work for yourself full-time. It's progress. It's, those little seeds that you're planting. They will grow into a beautiful orchard and you'll be able to live there at some point. So just keep that in mind, that the struggle is usually temporary. The length of time of the temporariness might be different for everyone, but usually temporary, in my experience anyway, with people. Paul Landergan, voiceover artist, how are you doing? Good day, all from Dunmow, UK. I don't have much to contribute today, as I'd already semi-retired before taking up VO, so for me now. Well, that's good. I know a few people that have done that they've either retired or semi-retired and took this up as just additional income, or just to, fill the time, or both. So that's awesome. Dylan says, Joel, there's actually a big Michigan contingent in this group. There is. There is. It's random and strange, but pretty cool. Paul says to Dylan, I tried something similar when I first started VO. Soon discovered it wasn't sustainable. Yes. Yeah. You can't do it forever. That's why it has to be temporary. Because you'll eventually burn yourself out before you even get started. Right? Dwight says, you're welcome, Caesar, but thanks goes to you. You're doing the work. I just gave you some tool sets in your arsenal to get done. Proud of you, little brother. So much love in this group. Dwight says, I am also proud of Christina Vogel. As am I. She too is getting it done with her toolset arsenal of time management and organization. Couple all of that with Angela's stuff, and you got a winning combo. Oh, Dwight, you're so sweet. You're so sweet, Dwight. But you deserve some credit too. You need to take that credit. That's you. Jim says, good morning from Memphis. Good morning to you, Mr. Williams. Paul says, good day from all. I think that's a dupe. Sorry. Oh, here's the rest of yours. It's really just restricting audiobook work to around 4 hours daily to leave time for auditions, other projects, family duties. Well, there you go. That could work too. If you only have so much time, if you have an hour here, maybe 2 hours here, and then an hour there, and then an hour there throughout the course of the day, then that's what it's got to be. If that's what you can, set aside for this to grow, and then maybe a day or two when you're on vacation and you have some more time to, set aside for this, then do that. Caesar says, good afternoon, Paul. Still love your mic. Plan on owning a beautiful Sontronics Corona one of these days, but I have way too many mics. I think so. I really should focus on other aspects of my audio. Yeah, you have, what is it? Gear. What is GAS? GAS? Gear addiction syndrome? Something like that? Gear acquisition syndrome? He's a collector. Jim says, people say audition, 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 and it's easy to see the wisdom of it. But what do you do with them once they are in your quiver? I would take those auditions and post them as samples, compile them into demo reels, use them. Use them as learning tools. So that way, as you progress and you grow and learn and you just inherently get better as time goes on, you can look back at them or listen back to them and see how far you've come. It's a confidence builder. But for now, use them as samples and compile them into demos. Angel says, morning, everyone. Finally able to catch a live. Sorry that my audio was garbage, Angel, but I'm glad that you're here. I hope it's still okay. Donnie's here. Hey, Donnie. Good morning, all. I set a scheduled daily goal that is reasonable and achievable, and I tend to get done early. Good. So if you're getting done early, maybe it's time to increase the goal. Maybe giving yourself a little bit more. It's just like when you're exercising, right? You can do 10 sit-ups, and then eventually you can do 15. And then eventually you can do 20. So if you're finding yourself getting done early, why not make the goal a little bit bigger, right? Just a thought. Just a thought. I'm going to skip the ones about audio issues. I apologize. Sean says, I just jumped right in. Bring it on. Then after getting it in over my head, I had to decide what I want to do full time. Randall Benton says, hello all. Happy to be here. First time here. Well, welcome, Randall. Oh, gosh. Sorry. Oh, no. There's so many comments about my audio. I'm so sorry about that. I don't know what happened. Hopefully it's still okay. Morning. My cup of tea says, morning all. Morning to you. Jim says, I would work part-time, allowing the time needed by this work. And it's going to take as long as it's going to take, right? For some of you, it could take a couple of months of doing VO part-time and working full-time. Or you could be like me, where it took years. It took almost 2 years to get to that point. And the deciding factor, for those of you before you ask, the deciding factor for me to fire my boss and become my own boss was when my VO work was outpacing the pay. Like I was losing business. My business was losing business by being employed full time. That was when I made the deciding factor to go. Pamela says, good morning. Good morning to you, Pamela. I hope you're well. Yeah, I know. I'm so sorry. Gregory says, for me, it's all about being more intentional, making the timing of my medical, and coming to grips with the fact that finding time to manage all the things requires complete involvement. It does. And it can be exhausting physically, mentally, spiritually. But at some point, it will pay off as long as you keep at it. Just don't burn yourself out. Don't push too hard, but just keep at it. It's going to be worth it. Ben says, I am balancing the full-time job and VO hustle. I just have to deal with, I can only dedicate maybe 2 to 3 hours a night to it. And that's pretty much all I did. That's pretty much all I could do also. So don't let the limited amount of time that you can dedicate dissuade you, because it still can be done as long as you're moving forward, planting those seeds. I deal with it by pushing out delivery dates and communicating. Perfect. Perfect. Make sure that you're giving yourself ample time to get these things done. If you only have so much time to dedicate to this. Speaking of phones, my phone's been making noise. Hang on, let me quiet this. Thanks, guys. I know my audio is garbage. Hot Pink Bear is here. Hello. I work full-time plus second jobs. I wanted to try voiceover to replace at least my second job, but finding the time is making, I would imagine, if you have multiple jobs, finding time is going to be even more difficult for you. For sure. And I'm not one to tell anyone to, figure it out, because it's really going to be up to you in how much time you can dedicate, to doing this without burning yourself out. Jim says, I am told to make 20 auditions a day. With the pollen, I'll do maybe 8 before my voice starts to break up. And that's okay too. I think 20 a day is, you want to do a lot of auditions in the beginning, because you're trying to get yourself out there and you're trying to find your first few jobs. But if you physically can't do 20 in a day, then maybe start with something a little bit more comfortable, right? Because you don't want to burn yourself out or do some damage. Be realistic with your goals. Make goals, but make sure they're attainable, right? Don't crap yourself out before you even get started. Joel says to Dylan, got that right. Very strange but cool. I was surprised going through the wonderful podcasts and hearing all of the other Michiganders. By the way, love all the podcasts, Angela. Oh, thank you. Thank you for that. Oh, yes, I know. My audio was not great. Okay, I'm just going through. Okay, Donnie says, I have a small farm and can still do this. If I have a book, I get a minimum of 1 chapter done. If not, I do other things, i.e. website, never ending, audition, create profiles. Where's the rest of this comment? Where's the rest of your comment? I don't see the rest of it. Maybe ETC? Yep, there's a lot to be done. Just break it down as best you can, little chunks by little chunks. So sorry about the sound quality. Okay, Jim says, when it comes to work, the ruling idea is the pay it generates. If it pays the bills, that does it. Absolutely. Florida D says, corporate layoff, end of May. New job in July. That isn't great. Spending every free minute working on this now. Super supportive family has been huge. Yes, and that definitely helps for having a supportive partner, supportive family. If they can see your determination and that your why is strong enough to do this, because it has to be. The reason that you're doing this has to be strong to pull you through, or to help you to get through all of the challenging times, because there will be challenges. There will be obstacles and challenges and things that, things that come up that may seem difficult to get around. But if your why is strong enough to do this, you can get past it. Like for me, it was mom guilt, lack of sleep. The mom guilt when you should be spending time with your family, you're neglecting your kid. All of that stuff was just horrible. Neglecting my partner. It was horrible, but I knew that it was temporary. And I knew that what I was striving for was to be able to do this, what I'm doing now. And I knew I was going to get there. Wasn't always easy, but it can be done if you're strategic and your why is strong enough to do it. And a super supportive family is definitely helpful to get you there. Jim says, when I am working, I set the sound levels on the phone to be silent, period. Can't tolerate the interruptions. Yeah, same. Same. I just mute it. Mute the phone. Christine says, coming in clear on phone. Good. I'm glad that it's okay now. Jim says, how long did you work at LibriVox before starting in at ACX? I volunteered with LibriVox maybe a month or two, because I wanted to use that time volunteering with LibriVox. And for those of you that don't know what LibriVox is, I have a... Where is it? Here it is. It's LibriVox.org. This is where you can volunteer to narrate books in the public domain, either by the section or books by the chapter, by their entirety. These are books in the public domain, and you're volunteering your time to narrate them. But through this process, you build confidence. You understand your recording software. You understand what the effects do. You know how to format files appropriately for audiobook standards. You get to feel the marathon of narrating for, sometimes hours on end, and, learning what you're capable of. But through that process, you learn so much. And then the confidence, of course, at the end of that is everything to then go on to sites like ACX and then offer your services there for money, right? I felt bad doing that without knowing that I could, right? I didn't want to charge somebody for my complete lack of experience. I wanted to have some experience under my belt and then feel good about it, knew I could do it, and then moved forward. So it was just about a month or two, perhaps. Here we are. Caesar says, gear acquisition syndrome, yep, is indeed what I have. But gear addiction syndrome works just as well. Ben says, guilty here too. Hot Pink Bear says, I didn't know you could use auditions as samples. And you should for ACX. Absolutely. Just keep in mind that the name or the title of your sample is very important, right? Don't just put as your title for your sample, like my audiobook demo, because that tells the searcher nothing. Make sure you title your sample as what it is. So as an example, it would be American Female Narrating Children's Book, something like that, right? Describe your sample in your title. Jim says, I save the demos as WAV files until I get ready to send them out. Then I make an MP3 out of each to send it. Perfect. That's great. Dwight says, one of the biggest enemies of time management is actually giving yourself enough time at the same time every week to just assess and rearrange what is needed to be done for the upcoming 7 days. Be flexible. Well said, Dwight. Jim says, yes, your audio did clean up, but the volume is wide open. I hope I'm not blowing out your eardrums. Tycon Delar says, going through some medical issues with the wife, which compounds the time management issue. Carving out 1 hour per day is a challenge. I try to make up for it on the weekends, but I risk burnout. And if life is lifing, and it probably is for a lot of people, this August has been very rough. The last few months have been very rough on a lot of people for various reasons. And if life is lifing and you need to pump the brakes a little bit, then do that. Because it's not worth doing any kind of damage to you physically, emotionally, psychologically. It's not worth it. So if life is lifing, then focus on that until that passes. Then come back. Or do very little. Or read books in the interim. If you can't get into the studio, read business books. Right? Read VO books. Do something that still sort of moves you forward and you're still learning and enriching without burning yourself out. But take the time that you need to take to do what you have to do. Dwight says, part of the process must include personal time to rest, recoup, and do the normal part of living things. Absolutely. Florida D says, Arnold Schwarzenegger, if you don't have enough time, sleep faster. Carlos, hey Carlos, your videos are sleet helpful, Angela. I appreciate you. Well, thank you for that. I feel bad about the audio today. I don't know what happened, but thank you. I'm glad they help. Jim says, I really hope I don't have to keep a website going to make a business work. Is everybody here running a website? You should absolutely have a website. You need to have a online home base for your business. You have to. Because with our business, you need a place for the clients to find you. Everybody's online now. Almost everybody is on social media also. So if you are posting content on social media, you need to have a website that your clients or people who want to network with you can go to to find out more about you, to contact you. You have to have a digital home base. If you don't have a brick and mortar business, you should still have a website if you have a brick and mortar business, but it's your business online. Unfortunately, you have to have a website. You have to have a place for people to find you, find out more about you, to make sure that you are actually a voice actor and that you're not just someone saying that you are, but you're using an AI voice, right? It builds your goodness. It builds your professionalism, right? Your credibility, all of those things. You have to have a website, Jim. Eric says, I usually do my VO work or auditions at night from around 10 p.m. or whenever my mother-in-law turns her TV off. Put a sleep timer on for her until 1 or 2, and sometimes on Saturday if it's quiet enough. Yeah, struggles. Andrew Stout says, nice to see you, Angela. What is your best advice for a podcaster? Consistency. Just like anything else, consistency. I'm not like a super awesome podcaster. I basically replay these YouTube lives on, from my podcast because, different people like to take information different ways. But from the podcasts that I edit, I can tell you that the majority of them are usually around 20 to 30 minutes. I think that is the preferred time, roughly. Having a guest or someone to talk to ask questions to bounce things off of. Either a guest if you're a single host, or maybe consider getting a co-host if it's something that's, comedic, perhaps. Multiple perspectives usually keep things going a little bit longer. Some way for the audience to engage with you. And I think that goes with just about anything that you're doing online. You need to have the ability for the people who want to engage with you to engage with you. If they want to ask you questions, if you have a poll, if you have quizzes, if you have, comments, anything like that, they have to have a way to engage with you. I think helps to build community. For sure. Joy is here. Hey, Joy. Hello, everyone from partly sunny Southfield, Michigan. Did anyone see the blue moon yet? Yes, I did. It was amazing. It was amazing last night. Joe says, I've bought 2 different audio interfaces and probably 6 different microphones. I finally found one that will be my forever mic. Definitely do plenty of research on equipment. So which one is it? What's your forever mic? Don't leave us hanging. Dylan said, speaking of gas, my Sweetwater rep reached out to me with a few offers on some nice mics. On a related note, apparently I have a Sweetwater rep. You do, and they will text you from time to time. If you have something in your cart, or if there's something that you were looking at, they'll reach out to you and say, hey, can I answer any questions for you? Or every once in a while, they'll reach out and say, hey, how's everything going? Need anything new? What can I help you with? They do that. But you know what? Their customer service is amazing, Sweetwater. dangerously. You're like, tempting. Joe says, I use Zounds for my equipment. Cheap payment plans, and you get it the next day. Z-Sounds? Zounds? I've never heard of that one. Interesting. I'll have to go check that out. Jim says, no, the volume is high, but not blaring loud. Oh, okay, good. Good. Caesar says, I reached out to my Sweetwater rep, and all he said was, oh, God, you again. I could totally see that. Carlos says, I have fat thumbs. Apologies for the typo. You know what? I do it too. I do it too, but I have like ET fingers. So sometimes they overreach the letter that I'm actually shooting for. It's okay. No worries. Jim says, on a demo and audiobooks, how much should I read? A chapter? Oh, no. Your demo should be 3 minutes max. Max. That goes for samples too. Because the listener is going to know if you're right for that part, that book, whatever it is, that job, within the first few seconds. You don't need to read a whole chapter. 2 to 3 minutes max. Gregory says to Dwight, taking time to rest and living life is a real thing. Faux real. That's right. Faux real for real. Lamar. Hey, Lamar. How you doing? Peace, Angela. What VO business books would you... Oh, well... You know the one that I'm always showing you guys. This one sits on my desk. This one's a very good one. Voiceover, voice actor. It's if you go to my website, if you can't find it on Amazon, you can go to my website. I have a tab that's VO gear. I think it's recommended stuff that I have in my studio here if you're looking for some ideas for what to get. But this book is also in there if you're on my website, voiceoverangela.com. But this is a good one. It's got a lot of audition tips, like warm-ups, agent information, you know, like what to do to find an agent. There's a lot of great stuff in here. This is a great book. I always recommend that one. Your podcasts are great for people doing other things while they listen. I figured as much. So I'm glad that I made that choice. Jim says it was Mission Audition. Mission Audition is a great podcast. Mission Audition, because they will have a client that actually on the podcast, and then they'll have the voice artists that submitted auditions that were like in the were in the short list, and then the one that actually won the job, and they'll break down all the auditions and talk about them. And then they'll discuss why they chose the person who won the job. It's really interesting information, kind of behind the scenes information on auditions. That's a good one, for sure. Joe says it is the LCT 440. That's the Lewitt 440, right? That works for me. However, the AT 4033A is another crisp microphone. I've tested the Lewitt. I like the Lewitt products. Joe says if you want a warmer tone, the AT 4040 or 4033. You're starting to sound like Caesar. Carlos says ZZ sounds. Excuse me. Slight markup on the gear, but the payment plans make it crazy doable. You could have $700 in equipment and be paying $30 a month. Slight exaggeration, but not much. I think, to your point, I think a lot of these sites will now, if you don't have a credit card or anything, will let you do payments through PayPal if you have a PayPal account. So I see more and more of these big ticket item companies online offering like payment terms, you know, which helps out a lot of people for sure on big ticket items. Leslie says, Blue Moon viewer here. VO work is going to have to switch to really early mornings or late night. The high temps are not conducive to leave the AC off as my husband works from home too. Same for me. I totally get it. But, you know, it's got to be what it's got to be. And summer is temporary, right? It'll go away at some point. Andrew says, thanks for the advice, Angela. Do you recommend podcasts to be edited? Do I recommend podcasts to be edited? I'm not sure what you mean. For editing podcasts? I just used my own experience as a voice artist and what I know about my DAW, and I use Adobe Audition, to just apply what I know and my skills to other people's podcasts, right? With all of the plugins that we have that can reduce noise, reduce sibilance, reduce mouth clicks, all of those things, now I can offer that to other people. So that's basically all I do for those. Florida D says, my biggest challenge now is learning the audio mastering. Found a couple of classes on Udemy that use Adobe Audition, so I'm going to try that. YouTube is also a great source of information on how to use Adobe Audition for free. I think, Mike Russell was a channel that I watched quite a bit for information on Audition. Also watching other voice artists that I follow, right? Anthony Pica used Adobe Audition. A handful of others that I was watching would show, what they're doing and how they did it. But Mike Russell, I think, was a pretty big one for Adobe Audition. Also, Tim Tippett has a YouTube channel as well, VO Tech Guru. He's got some great audition-specific videos as well on YouTube. But just, poking around the YouTubes showed me a whole lot of information. Then at some point, if you want to, you can work with an audio engineer that can show you some specific things specific to you, help you make shortcuts and things like that with you, for your situation. That makes sense. Joy says, I need to learn how to podcast. Darling, that's what I'm doing right now. I don't think you give yourself enough credit. Joy. Get a camera. You already have a microphone. And just start speaking your piece. Speak your truth. Talk about your journey. Grab somebody else. We have, Christine and Christy in our group have that podcast that they're doing together. And Kara, I think, too, is in there. Pick a topic, pick a person to help you do it, and do it. It's not that hard, Joy. Give yourself some credit. You can do it. You can do it. We can even talk about it in a group meeting if you want to, in Platinum Group. Ask me again on Thursday. We'll talk about it. Carlos says, I'm really liking Personas Studio One. I've heard some good things about Studio One. I think most of the time I hear more about Adobe Audition and Reaper, but I know there's still a lot of people that use Studio One because it's free. Why not? Audacity is also free. So, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But it might be harder to find more information online about Studio One. Obviously, there's going to be more about Audition and Reaper and Audacity, but I don't see a whole lot on Studio One, so that might be the only challenge with that one. Joe says, EQ, reverb, high pass, low pass, get familiar with that. Absolutely. All right. Gregory says, hey, folks, don't forget to like and subscribe. Yes, gingerly click the like button. Don't go smashing anything, but just thank you. It helps my algorithms. I appreciate you. Florida D says, I feel like each time I've watched the YouTubes, it makes me realize how much I don't know. And thank you for this format. It's awesome. Well, you're welcome. I'm glad that you're here, and I'm glad that you guys get something out of it, I hope. And it's fine. Don't give yourself a hard time about what you don't know. Because we don't know everything. You're not just going to, inherently know everything under the sun. Don't make that a bad thing. You're learning. You're a student, and that is a good thing. Always be learning. Jim says, I didn't know you needed a camera for a podcast. You don't need a camera for a podcast, but you do need a microphone. You need recording software. It's just like voiceover or audiobook narration, right? But if you want to do this with video, you will need a video camera. Only difference. It is an audio only thing, but is increasingly more popular to have a video podcast is, I think, the reason why I said video camera. But you can have an audio only for sure. Joe says, I learned from plenty of audio engineers on YouTube. Great advice from loads of people. Yes, there's tons of stuff that you can learn on YouTube for free. Joy says, oh my gosh, Angela, I don't think I have a memory card big enough for a podcast like that. You don't need a memory card. Just record it on your computer. It's just like voiceover. Just record, save, upload to the podcast platform of your choice. That's all there is to it, Joy. I think you're making it more difficult than it is. You can do it, Joy. You can do it, trust me. Jim says, I bought Lenny B's class on EQ for beginners. Very useful. There you go. A lot of audio engineers have courses online available to purchase, so you can learn from their courses too. But there is a lot of information on YouTube for free. Caesar says, PreSonus Studio One is an excellent DAW and integrates very well with the new Quantum series of audio interfaces. Audacity has recently been updated with excellent new features for VO artists. That's awesome to hear. It is awesome to hear. Audacity just keeps evolving for the better, and I'm still shocked that it's free. Adekoya Gabriel, I hope I said that right. I have issues with ACX, and it's disheartening. I worked with a client on ACX for over 3 weeks on narration. All of a sudden, ACX terminated my account saying it's text-to-speech. I think don't let that dissuade you. Don't let that dissuade you. I think what it came down to is perhaps we needed a little bit more training and practice to relax, because I have to guess that it sounded like you were reading words instead of reading the words, right? Having just a normal conversational voice. Don't let that stop you, because obviously it's not true, right? I think whenever anyone has ever said that to me, even falsely, they said, this software over here said that you were AI. I just recorded a video of myself doing the exact same thing. They could clearly see it's coming out of my mouth. And then, all the issues went away. But, I think at some point or another that's happened to a lot of us. So don't let that stop you. Don't let that dissuade you. Keep going. Keep going. Florida D says, Jim, I've looked at him. Nice to hear an objective opinion. I'll do that. Thank you. Caesar says, I've enjoyed my Lewitt 440 Pure while I had it. I've since added the LCT 441 Flex multi-pattern and a Lewitt Pure Tube. I am not shocked. Caesar's got a stable of mics. Adekoya says, yet the audio met ACX requirements while uploading the audio. Yeah, I don't think it was the standards. I think it was just what you sounded like, and it was mistaken for, artificial intelligence. Carlos says, we believe in you, Joy. Yes, we do, Joy. See? Joy, you just need to believe in yourself. Believe in yourself, Joy. Andrew says, I wish I was technically inclined. You will be. It just takes practice. You're not born with the knowledge of everything. You have to learn it. So give yourself some grace and learn it. You got this. Jim says, when you do record a podcast, save it and look how big the file is as a wave. That could tell you how much time or how much it takes on an SD card. You could, but, you could have an external hard drive as well. Or just save it to your computer, and then once you upload the podcast, delete it. Or move it offline to external storage. Don't overthink it, you guys. Don't overthink it. Joe says, LMAO. Adekoya says, now the client is asking for a refund after she approved the project. The project was reviewed by client for over 2 weeks before she approved it. Yeah, I don't know. That sounds like that would be something to discuss with ACX. To get ACX, and go, hey, I'm a real person. Maybe do a video, just like I said, do a video of yourself reading a piece of that same book and go, here, you guys wrongfully, did this, and now I'm having all of this problem. So that's what I would do, I think. Joseph says, love the encouragement as usual. Thank you, Angela. Well, thank you for being here, Joseph. I appreciate you. Happy to be here myself. Joe says, I've spent 2 years learning slowly about my DAW and what every plugin does. You just have to be patient. You just have to be consistent and stay at it and keep learning and growing and learning the terminology and what it can and can't do. And then in turn, how all of the plugins work together, right? Harmoniously. There's a lot of moving parts, but you have to give yourself some grace. You have to be patient, and you have to keep at it. You have to just keep learning. Give yourself some time to learn all these things. Joy says, amen. Indeed, I do believe. Well, good. I can just use a good swift kick in the behind every now and then. Yes, we all do. We all do from time to time. But I am your designated Swift kick person. Swift kicker. I'll be your cheerleader. How about that? Jim says, what do you prefer, ACX, per finished hour or royalty plus? If it's something interesting to me, I am open to any of it. Per finished hour is typically what I'll go for, but if it's a book that I think will sell well, if it's got great sales numbers and great reviews, then I will go royalty plus or royalty share. It's really going to depend on the book, right? You use your own discernment if it makes sense or not for you. But I think they're all valid ways of making money, but it just has to be the right choice for you at that time. Gregory says, I just found out my rights holder of audiobook approved or project approved my 15 minutes. Yay me. Dedicating 90 minutes a night is paying off. Good for you, Gregory. Joy says, thanks, Angela. Absolutely. Caesar says, excellent advice for those who are learning VO processing. Have a chat with an actual sound engineer if you can. They can often demystify a lot of the voodoo gobbledygook that's involved. Yeah, all the stuff that you think is intimidating, that you can't do, that you'll never understand, they'll break it down in a way that you just go, oh, that wasn't that hard. I got this. It's intimidating. Don't let it intimidate you. You can learn it. If I can learn it, you can learn it. Joseph says, I love my LCT 440. It works right out of the box with phantom power and just about any interface. But my personal favorite mic is the RE20. With an old Symmetrix preamp, it really is hard to beat. I know a lot of people who use that RE20. Andrew says, do you know how much about audiobooks? Do you know much about... Yes, I've narrated over 200, 250 of them at this point. Yes. We talk a lot about audiobooks here on my channel. If you go look at my playlists, I have an entire playlist dedicated to audiobook narration. Alfonso Howell says, I use both Twisted Wave and Audacity software, which is best. I haven't used Twisted Wave, so I couldn't tell you, but I have used Audacity. I didn't really like Audacity, but it's come a long way in the last 5 years since I've last used it. So I know that it's been improved quite a bit since then. But for you, I would just check out both and see which you like better, because it's really going to come down to what it can do, and then your preference. Does it do what you do? Does it make sense? Does it do what you need it to do? Does it make sense? Is it in a way that you can, understand and use? That's really what it's going to come down to. But I've never used Twisted Wave, so I can't give you a valid answer on that. Jim says, backing out to go do lunch. Enjoy your lunch, Jim. Andrew says, are they hard to do? It depends on the book. Audiobooks are work. They take time. They take prep. They take marathons of, narration time. Audiobooks are not as easy as some people say on social media that just are clickbaity. Audiobooks are work, just like anything else. Audiobooks take time. They are a marathon. They can be hard to do, yes. Joe says, I've been using BandLab, but might go to Florida Studios or Reaper. I would say Reaper. Leslie says, Twisted Wave is really user-friendly. Oh, okay. Well, there you go. There you got somebody giving you info on Twisted Wave. Joseph says to Andrew, audiobooks can be a lot of work, especially the first handful, as you'll be learning how to read accurately and with feeling. And editing, and it will be slower. Yeah, especially in the beginning, they are a lot more work. But as you go, just like anything else, you inherently just get better and faster, and then they're still work, but they won't take as long. And then you'll start to sort of, build up the lung capacity and the endurance to keep reading longer. All of these things just get better and faster over time. So yes, in the beginning, they are a lot more work, but worthwhile if you enjoy it, of course. Joseph says, short books to start is probably a good idea. Or start on LibriVox. Start volunteering on LibriVox.org to see if this is something you can even sustain, if this is something that you can even do before you get out into the audiobook narrator market. Andrew says, do you work with people to design audiobooks? No, I do not. To design audiobooks. I'm not sure what you mean, like sound design, or to produce and mix audiobooks. I'm not sure what you mean. Like book covers? I'm not sure what you mean. Anything to do with audiobooks? Yes. I've mixed multiple, like full cast. I've done all that. Mix in music. I've done all of that, if that's what you're asking. Dylan says, what do you mean audiobooks are hard work? Follow me to see how to make $400 an hour with just your iPhone. Yeah, I don't like those posts either. They're very misleading and disheartening, because then you discover that it's, you get your hopes up. You're like, oh my God, this is amazing. I'm totally going to do this. And you're like, oh, heartbroken, because it's not reality. Yeah, all those social media posts. Yvette Voiceover says, consistency of pace was one of the hardest things for me to learn in my first audiobooks. Yeah, not only in, really not even so much in pace, but really like in volume, like keeping your volume pretty close to the same. So that way your RMS fits in where it's supposed to fit in. Joseph says, Dylan Holt voiceovers, LOL for sure. Yeah, we've all seen those social media posts. Hey, do you want to make $1,000 in your pajamas with just your iPhone? Do you speak English? You can do this too. And click this here to take this course. Not reality. Andrew says, so if I wanted to do an audiobook, would you help me? Of course. Of course. That's what I do here. That's why I'm here, is to share information with you. So I would say for you, Andrew, start on my YouTube channel in the audiobook narration playlist, and then search out other people on YouTube. Join a group, join a mastermind, a workshop, something where you can get feedback from other people, not only on your sound quality, but also on your performance quality, right? There's my platinum group. I have the workshop, the VO workshop, where we do exactly that every week. And the Discord, where you can talk to anybody else, can ask questions 24/7. I highly recommend that. I highly recommend that if you're just getting started out. Joel says, Dylan, what a deal. Sign me up. I know. Those social media posts are horrible. Caesar says to Joseph, which Symmetrix preamps do you pair with the RE20? Is it the 302? If you're just showing off now, Caesar. If so, I've heard it's a decent piece of hardware with an excellent vibe and color. All right. Well, I'm sorry, but you guys are probably going to have to chat about that offline, because I have got to go. It's a half day at school. I got to get to the pickup area. But thank you all for joining me today for another live chat here on my channel. I really appreciate the time that you guys take to visit, to participate, to ask questions and support one another. It really is everything. But I will be here next week, same bat time, same bat channel. If you have any ideas or like topics in mind that you want to talk about, in the coming weeks, then leave those comments down below. And if you're a Team Replay, please consider subscribing. It really helps out. And I will see you all next week. Bye. Thank you for listening to She Lancer Mom Entrepreneur with VoiceOver Angela. That's me. For more information about me, visit my website, voiceoverangela.com, or hop on over to my YouTube channel, VoiceOver Angela. Again, thanks for listening. Have a great day.